and if anybody else shows up, I will let them in. So welcome, friends. Feel free to turn on your cameras so we can see your beautiful, wonderful faces. Yay! Oh, Katie, it's been forever. It's so good to see you. That makes me so happy. Are you 330? Is that your phone number? Okay, somebody else.
Is it Kristen?
Maybe. That might be her. Yep. You're absolutely right. Okay, cool. So she will be a little bit late. But okay. So Pax, go ahead and take attendance, and then when people come in, just go ahead and add their names. So don't forget, dues are due October 2nd. If you want more information on that, just put message PAX in the chat if you haven't been here for that, or if you need some clarification on how to pay your dues. It is what is it, $30 for both semesters, $15 for one semester, and you pay that through Bobcat Connect. And then we have Nats, if you want to do that competition this fall. The due date is October 22nd, and Alex is going to talk to us a little bit about that since she has all that stuff pulled up and she's amazing and wonderful. So go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to pull it. Where did it go? Okay, so one thing that's different with the virtual Nats this year is that you will only record 3 pieces, regardless of your level, your category. Only have to record 3. So each category has requirements, and then you choose 3 from that you want to record. Of course, your teachers can help you decide what 3 to record. So you are allowed to use pre-recorded accompaniment tracks, but there is going to be some recital hall time that Professor Renz has, what do you call it, put aside for us. I don't even know. Booked. Okay, booked is the word. That you all can sign up for times and get in there and do recordings for Nats in October. The recordings are due October 22nd, and then judging happens November 2nd through 11th. I don't know why they're due so early, but they are. And then they actually announce the winners November 14th. So you'll submit the 22nd of October, and then November 14th is when you will know about the winners. So you will, for the winners recital, you submit, I think you get to pick which of the recordings that you submitted that you want to play for the winners recital. I don't know if you pick that when you submit them, like, if I win, this is the one I want. Yes, you should still get written comments. I don't know exactly how. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't miss that in this document. So you'll submit it through YouTube links through something called Auditionware, which your teacher will submit them for you. So I think that your teacher handles all of that. But you will have to send them the links, obviously. It doesn't say anything specifically about comments, but I would assume you would still get your comments. And I don't know in what form that would be, but I mean, that's one of the purposes of Nat, so I can't imagine that they would do away with that. So it's probably in Auditionware. We probably type them in, as we watch in the Auditionware software, whatever platform that they have, and then that somehow gets to you. So, yeah. Any questions about that?
Okay, cool. Thank you, Alex. Mm-hmm. If we do have questions, we may come find you later. Hello, Luke. It's good to see you. I know he can't hear me.
Let me think. Are you a lefty or a righty?
No, Google. That was weird. Okay. Anyways.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Never mind, Google. That was weird. Oh, and Oh, and I just got a notification from Google. That's weird. Okay, so now that Google's listening to our entire conversation all the time, our next 3 speakers, we have Tyler next week, who's going to be talking about Gregorian chant. This time he's actually talking about Gregorian chant. Yesterday at ACDA, it was not Gregorian chant, even though I advertised it as that. I just assumed Tyler and Gregorian chant just go along together so well. And then the week after that, we have Florence and Jeremy coming in, and they're going to be talking about like what their lives are like being an accompanist right now, and they're going to talk about how to work with your accompanist in like all different kinds of forms and all that fun stuff. So that'll be a really good conversation. I'm going to try to get a lot of people from what's it called, lab choir, to come to this, because I think that'd be really good for them. If you have any friends that, especially instrumentalists or first year, second year students that would benefit from these conversations, like bring them in. Grad students, or Alex, any of you guys that have students that you think would benefit from this, like bring them. So then after that, we have Dr. Petit. I'm not entirely sure what her subject is yet. I don't know if she knows what her subject is yet, but we'll get there. Bring Nana in. Okay, and then what do I have? Oh, October 11th, there is a Nats chat at 7 p.m. your time, so Eastern Standard Time. It is a conversation with the incomparable George Shirley, an operatic tenor. Trying to see. We will discuss many aspects of his distinguished career, as well as relevant topics such as diversity in our field through his eyes. If you want to register for that, you can either go to the Nats website, or if you go to our Google Calendar, which we've put on our Facebook page and lots of other places, emails, you will see the link to register for it there. So, any questions, comments, concerns?
There you go.
Welcome, Nana.
Hey, I had to really find this link. So yeah.
I will Chrissy McKinney, that I will send out email today. Usually we have Karina send out an email with the link right beforehand, but it's the same link every single week. So if you like copy
I found the old one. Yeah.
Yay. So we'll make sure that we get that link out again, but we have lots of people and I'm very excited. So without further ado, let's go ahead and continue with the wonderful Alex Bruno, and I'll just let you take the floor and start doing what you do best.
Cool. So I'm Alex. For those of you that don't know, I am on the voice faculty here at OU. I went to OU for my master's. As I was telling them before this, I was the president of the starting group of SNATs here when we first started it back when I was here. There was like 4 of us in the group, so this is looking good, guys. Yeah, so let's see. I have a master's in vocal performance pedagogy. I sing, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I have 3 cats, and a daughter who's like almost 15 months old, which is crazy.
I just want to say I love how you mentioned your cats before your daughter. That was great.
And I also have a husband, in that order. No, I'm just kidding. I know. That's about right. Yeah, my cats I like them most of the time, unless they try to swipe at my daughter, then we're not on good terms. So today I'm just going to talk about what it's like to be singing and teaching in today's times. Like, as most of you or some of you may have seen, the Met canceled its entire season. They won't even be back till 2022, right? Or 2021. The fall of 2021, I think. Mm-hmm. Or was it 2020? I don't know. Anyway, they canceled their whole season. It's, whatever year it is. I don't even know. But that's a big deal. Sorry, my lights in my office just turn off because I'm in the corner. They don't know I'm here. That will happen again, I'm sure. So there's a lot to be thinking about with performing and teaching, and first I want to start off with just, do any of you have questions or concerns about right now? Like living in the times and singing, going to school. It can be specific to OU, it can be specific to career, anything. Yeah, I see we have a question.
Yes, please. Okay. So I have a question. So all of my family is home because of COVID because my parents are very high risk.
Mm-hmm.
How or what do I do? Because you need to practice to do your rep, obviously. Do you go outside to practice? Do you have any tips or tricks on like where to practice?
Right, that's a good question. So, you can go outside to practice. You can practice anywhere, anywhere that's comfortable. I will say that when I'm around a lot of people, I do a lot of like straw phonation or like the NG sounds to get, it's quieter. That's what I mean. It's just quieter. When you're learning notes and rhythms and things like that. I'd say if you can work out with your family members, say, hey, I need to practice like these days. What time can I know I have my like 30-minute block where I can practice and I won't be disturbing anybody else? Or I think that's, everybody's really struggling with that right now, especially living at home, being in dorms, in apartments. You don't want to, be in the way of other people, but you still want to do your work. So I think it's perfectly acceptable to just ask the people you're with, be like, hey, I have to do this for class, for school. When's a good time for me to do it? I think the other thing is that they make something called a belt box, which is the thing that you put over your face. And I don't have one. Do you have one, Chrissy?
I just gave one to Anthony, and it's super awesome because he's very, very loud.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because it doesn't get rid of the sound entirely, but it does mute the sound quite a bit. Now when you're breathing, it's kind of annoying because you have to kind of like take it away a little bit and then like put it back on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, it really works.
Yeah, that's good. So that's something that just mute the sound, so you're not interrupting a bunch of people. It's called a belt box. So they make them. You probably can buy it on Amazon. I don't know how expensive they are. They might be cheaper now than they were when they first came out, but that's another option. Yeah. Good question.
You said a belt as in BELT box?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever
So
works
like
for it.
belt, like belting, singing, belting. Like if you're singing music theater, belting, and then a box that like goes. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, of course. Good question. Anybody else have questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was your transition out of academia to kind of like the real world before you came back to academia?
Right. So, yes. So I was very fortunate to have a partner that had health insurance through his job, that I was able to get that, because I know that's something that artists struggle with a lot, significantly, seriously. And there are government options. There's always options. However, they're not always that affordable. So for health insurance, like that's a big thing. I think the biggest thing that I would say is you might have to spend some time doing something that you don't really want to do to make ends meet, to support your art until you're able to get a job or to be working. doing what you love. That doesn't mean you're not going to get better. That doesn't mean you can't work toward your art, but you might spend some time, working at a coffee shop or at a restaurant, or, I mean, a lot of people wait tables or do bartending, and all of that's completely legitimate and valid. And honestly, like, if you get at the right restaurant in the right city, you can make a good amount of money doing that. So I think my transition, I did not leave Athens. I stayed here. I was teaching through the community music school already, so I had that. And I think I got really lucky in that I was in the right place at the right time. And I also think that happens more often than not. So for me, I always just kind of have to trust, like, that next step will be there. As long as I'm working toward a goal, it will be there. And it's super scary when you're about to graduate from your master's program or your undergrad, whatever. And you're like, what am I supposed to do next? It's super scary, but keep working at it and keep your eye on the prize. Whatever that goal is, performing, teaching, whatever. I got into grad school and I was like, wow, I love teaching. This is what I want to be doing. This is what I'm passionate about. And I kept my eye on that. And even though around Athens, like, I did one summer mowing people's lawns and watering their flowers and plants and stuff that was seriously awful. Like, it was awful. I hated it. It was so bad. But I did it because I needed money, right? And you
do what you gotta do.
You just gotta do what you gotta do. And I think for me, it was like being okay with that. Being okay with, no, this is just what you have to do as an artist to support your art until you can get to a place where you don't have to do that anymore. And I think just keeping the faith, just keep on keeping on. You will get there. You will.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Good question. And I think now, sorry, I'm like gonna just jump in again. I think now, with things being virtual and online, there's kind of an advantage there where you can really make your own opportunities. You can put yourself out there, which you can do that anyway, but now it's like so widely accepted that you just put yourself out there. I mean, so do it. Make recordings, put yourself out there, be like, hey, look at me, I'm singing this and doing that, and submit, audition. Now's the time to be submitting as much as you can, because it's all going to be online, it's all going to be recordings, and that's nice. You don't have to go anywhere to do it, And there are companies that are literally doing operas virtually. You don't even have to be there to rehearse it and to do it. And I think that's amazing. It's still happening in a safe way. And of course it's different than being on stage with people, but it's valid. And I think being okay with just putting yourself out there is important. Yeah, anybody else with questions? Sorry, I ramble, so if y'all don't stop me, I'll just keep talking. Yeah.
Feel it all the way. It's like my first thing. I feel it all the way.
Good, I'm glad.
And then the second thing is, since we're home, do you have any recommendations for speakers? So I have a mic, but I have a really crappy speaker, like Bluetooth.
Yeah. So, I have a Bose speaker at home, which are nice. I would say, really, any speaker, like Bluetooth speaker, like if you just go on Amazon and type in Bluetooth speaker, it's all going to be pretty comparable. And you can decide how much money you want to spend on it. And that's going to help you that'll help you determine what kind you want, I guess, or which brand. But it's really completely up to you. And I think most speakers are going to act the same way. And if you have that mic, that's going to help really balance the sound. So, yeah.
Okay. I appreciate you.
Of course. Of course.
Speaking of mic, what, like, do you have any suggestions of, like, if we should get a mic? Is it okay to just use your computer mic? Like, what should we be looking for when we do that kind of thing?
So I have this um, blue snowball. Is that what they call it? Snowball? I feel like that's not right.
Yeti.
But a Yeti.
Yeah, condenser mic.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah. And I like it. I've had it actually for several years now. I probably had this for 5 years. And it works great. Because the reality is that anything that you are investing in now, technology-wise, is going to last you, one, and two, you're going to use it later on. Because even when the world was not in a pandemic, I still was making recordings. I was making recordings all the time. So I have a mic. I have a Zoom camera mic so Zoom, like we're using, makes microphones and cameras. There is a microphone camera that has great audio, great visual that they sell for musicians. It's pricey, right? Like it's $350. It's pricey, but it's an investment, and I think it's something that if you are able to do it, or to be thinking about that as something you can save up for. So the Zoom products are also very good. So I have this Yeti mic. Zoom products are also very good. My camera is a Zoom Q8. It's an older model because it's been a few years since I got it. It's great. It served me well for my recordings. You can adjust audio. You can hook up other microphones, external microphones to it. You can live stream from it. Excuse me. So I think there's lots of options out there, but there's also, the school sent out like a microphone guide. I don't know if you all got that. That has like an idea of different price points and things. So if there's a specific amount of money you want to spend, that's another way to look at it. But again, I think a lot of these condenser mics are definitely worth it. If you can't get a condenser mic, I think your laptop audio is fine. So a lot of the voice faculty now are using something called Clean Feed. I don't know how many of you use that in your lessons, but it is life-changing. Yeah, so it's really so different. Even without a microphone, external microphone, it still works really, really well. I think at this point, if you're thinking microphone, you're thinking more for recording purposes. And, you know, right now, if you have a friend who also needs a microphone, you don't live far from each other, you can share that, if you want to share for recordings and things. So just know that that's, also an option. You can always go halvesies and split it. Yeah. Did I answer the question? I don't know. I ramble. Okay, hold on. I see the chat. Yeah, I do. I do use it with Clean Feed. Does it give weird feedback or something?
So we can't figure out how to they can hear us, but we cannot hear them through the headphones in the microphone.
Oh. So you have the headphones plugged into the microphone.
Yes.
And then the microphone plugged into the computer.
Yes.
So, one thing, have you gone to like your system preferences on your computer?
Yes, I think I've done that, but maybe I don't have it on the right setting.
So like, do you have a Mac or a PC?
A Mac.
Okay, so if you go to your system preferences and hit sound,
Okay.
your output and input should both be the Yeti stereo microphone.
Okay. I'll check that next time.
That's the only thing I can think of that otherwise it might be something defective with the microphone, and you may want to. Does it work like for everything else though?
Yeah, it works like if I'm doing a lesson just over Teams or something and not using Clean Feed, I can hear them through the microphone. But
It's only when we use Clean Feed.
That's so bizarre.
it's for both of us. We both have even played with it separately, and it just doesn't work.
That's so weird. I don't know. When you on Clean Feed, does it say like it's connected to the Yeti mic?
Yeah.
That's weird. Try the system preferences, but then if that doesn't work, I don't know if there's a way to like contact Clean Feed and be like, hey, why does this not work? Am I missing something? Like, is there some setting or update that I need to be? Because that's the other thing, is sometimes it can be that there's like a weird update that didn't have it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Pax, that I had to change my input. Okay, so you had like different.
Yeah, I remember Liz had to help me because I was a disaster with it.
Yeah, so
Liz, I'm sorry.
No, go for it. Go
I
ahead.
had to change it. It was either 4,800 or 48,000. I can't remember the exact number, but a 4 and an 8 were involved. I had to change it from the default hertz to one of the 4.8 hertzes. And somehow that got it to work. That's what Liz told me to do, and it worked.
Okay, so that might be something that might work. But yeah, that's mine just connects and works fine. I don't know. It's very bizarre. There's got to be a way to make it work. I mean, there's got to be. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh yeah, absolutely.
I shared mine in the chat. I
Yeah, I
didn't.
just so yeah. So Nana asked a question in the chat. Do you mean differences in terms of like technology, like using the technology
Well, just
in
like
Zoom now, or just
like reflection of how you used to teach compared to like now when you have more experience on like probably there's you know the difference of when you first get a new student of how you used to approach that, or even how you approach females compared to males, or you know just general things that you feel that like are huge differences of your reflection of your growth of when you used to start and now, like or milestones that you like had like a epiphany like I'm gonna just start doing this now in my in teaching. So
yeah, absolutely. I will tell you. So the year before I came to grad school, I took a gap year between undergrad and grad, and I taught at like a local music store. And I had a studio of about 30 students, and they were mostly little kids that wanted to be pop stars. And that was great, but I did not know what I was doing. And I was like, let's just sing kid songs and Disney songs and pop songs, and that was fine. For what I was doing and with those people that I was doing that with. But then when I came to grad school, I started having to teach majors. So my first year of grad school, I had 7 majors in my studio because there were so many people that came into the program that year, specifically in the music therapy program, that it was like they were way, way, way overloaded. So grad students got to teach a lot of majors with significant faculty, advising of that. And I had teaching experience, but never a voice major. And I think then I was really afraid to try out new repertoire that I didn't know for sure. It's like, I know these songs, so I'm going to give them these songs because I know them. Or repertoire that I didn't think was too challenging. So I didn't really challenge my students very much those first couple years, which, was kind of like, well, most of them were freshmen, and so you might not give the freshmen as challenging repertoire, but definitely most of them could have handled more than I gave them. I think in my training, I actually, after I graduated from grad school, I did a year of training, like cross training into the music theater repertoire. And so I learned how to belt, and I learned how to do all the music theater, the CCM techniques. And that was eye-opening, like majorly for my teaching, because it was such a different technique. What I was able to get my voice to do was crazy. Like, I was like, I never in a million years thought I could do that. And I use a lot of those ideas and those techniques in my classical teaching as well, because I think there's so much overlap. They're so different and yet so similar. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from that is how the voice really works. Because a lot of my teaching at first was very superficial, was very like focused on like major concepts of breathing, posture, diction, those kinds of things, which we have to focus on. That's still a part of my teaching, right? But as I learned more about the voice and I learned more about the different styles, I realized how the voice worked, and now I approach it as like a puzzle. I'm putting like puzzle pieces together to make like a whole thing. So I approach it sometimes a little bit backwards from some people. I think just because of my own experience and about how I do a lot of vowel work, a lot of here into the breath, as opposed to starting with the breath and then up into the vowels. Not with everybody though. Every student's different. So that's the other thing I learned. Every student is different. You cannot just teach one way to all students. And I'm especially learning that right now with the technology and being on Zoom with students. It's very, I feel like I'm doing a lot more specific work with them, because I feel like we have to accomplish so much more in a shorter amount of time, which isn't actually what's happening, but that's just what it feels like, because I want to make sure that I say everything that I want to say to them. And Pax is one of my students, and so she can probably attest to say, like, we do work like very specific parts of songs, very specific vowels, things like that, because, you know, I can see this much of them, and so I'm going off of, you know, what I can hear, what I can see, you know, with their jaw and their tongue, and, you know, going off of that. And I was not that specific back in the day, that's for sure. Yeah. There's another question in the chat. No, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a technology question. Y'all can ask me whatever you want. Yes. So we do have the community music school, Athens Community Music School, and they do have student instructors. I don't know, like, how they might not be hiring right now student instructors. They might be. I don't know. You can reach out here. I'll give you Wendy Blackwood's email address, and you can reach out to her and just say, hey, I'm interested. I'm a grad student here. I'm interested in teaching. And she can set you up. Really, the only requirement is that you've taken pedagogy, or that you're in pedagogy, a pedagogy class. So, yeah, that's something that you can do in this area. You can also, you know, everything's online. You can promote yourself on Facebook, Instagram, and just say, hey, I'm taking students. Who wants to take lessons with me? And then just teach them. Is that what you do, Chrissy?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that there was one point that I had about 20 students in Athens because I was putting myself out there, and like,
yep.
I reached out to a lot of the community theater groups in the area, and I reached out to the high school and different high schools, and I was just like, hey, music teachers, can you tell your students that I am looking for students, blah, 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 blah. and they'll put that information out there because they want especially choir teachers want their students to take voice.
Yep.
So it's especially in Athens, it's a matter of getting yourself out there. Now I will say that if you do want to teach lessons online, great, but if you cannot teach lessons outside of ACMS at the School of Music.
Yeah.
Because you cannot I got in trouble for that. You cannot exchange money in Glidden without being a part of a student organization or a part of the School of Music.
Yeah, and it's also a minors on campus issue. Like, you have to go through special training when you're working with minors and all of that. But I definitely think just putting yourself out there in general, especially right now, we're all online, might as well just be like, hey, anybody, anywhere in the world want to take voice lessons? I taught, well, this is something I did in the middle of my kind of times of before I got this job, was I taught English to Chinese students online through VIP Kid. I don't know if any of you have seen that, but I would get up at like 4 a.m. and because they were 12 or 13 hours ahead, and I'd sit and I'd teach English to these little kids that were in China online. And
I did that. That's
Did
a
you?
doozy. That's a doozy.
yeah,
I got my wall all like
Yes.
with a map, colorful map and letters and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was decked out behind me like, I miss Alex, you know.
Og, dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was really fun though. I actually really enjoyed it. Some
They're cute.
students were like, what is happening? I don't know. But I'm also living that now, just being online. I have some students, I'm like, all right, anybody there? Where'd you go? They just like leave. Because I teach little kids as well as my college students don't just leave without saying things usually. But the little kids do. But yeah, so tips for finding students and building a studio. Yeah, promoting yourself. Starting to find performing jobs. So the biggest thing is apply to summer programs. Be applying to summer programs. There's so many of them. It's hard to narrow down, hard to navigate. Get a Yap Tracker subscription. That's where a lot of those show up. If you're wanting to perform, Yap Tracker is where you're going to find a lot of those auditions and where you're going to be applying. And that's going to help you. Here, I'm going to put that in there, Yap Tracker. And I think yaptracker.com is the website. And just apply to as much as you can. And then you'll find, for example, I'll tell you this story. During my gap year between undergrad and grad, I performed in Pittsburgh. And I just showed up. It was graduation day, actually. I showed up, I went to Pittsburgh for an audition. And after my graduation, I sang and I was like, cool, I don't know. It's my first professional opera audition. I don't know who these people are, whatever. Well, I got a part in the chorus. We did Night of the Living Dead, the opera, and it was a world premiere of the work. It was amazing. We got to work with the composer, and it was just incredible. I was a zombie, a hooker zombie to be exact. It was a different time. So it was so much fun to be in the chorus. And the people that I worked with for there, that was like October, in June of that year, called me up, hey, we're doing this fundraiser event with this in this guy's garden, and we had somebody back out. We really need a soprano. Will you come do this? I was like, yes, absolutely. So I spent the month out there rehearsing and doing this with this same company. Then fast forward a couple years, I'm auditioning for summer programs, and the guy that was the artistic director of that program is now the artistic director of this company in Colorado. And I auditioned and got into this program where 20 singers got into this program of hundreds of people that applied. And I can promise you that I was not at the level that most of those singers were at, okay? I could promise you that, because I got there and I freaked out. So I was like, these people are really good. But he knew me, and he knew I was a really hard worker and a really good musician. And so he wanted me to come be in his shows. So it's all about just showing up, doing what you're doing, and it will just kind of keep going if you just keep auditioning and finding those connections. So I hope that helps. That answers that. Okay, wait, there's another.
Do you know if Andrew's going to be doing the Italy thing, or if they're even planning it for this year?
I don't know, actually.
Okay.
I know it got canceled this year, but
Yeah.
this past year, but I'm not sure if that's absolutely a connection right there. He does. What is it called? Like,
It's FIO Italia.
that's right. Yeah, FIO Italia, and that's Andrew's directing out there, and they did auditions at OU. OU students were cast. I mean, that is one thing I can say. Whenever you do a show, whenever you work with anybody, your voice professor even, your opera director at your school, show up and be prepared, because that person's gonna be like, this person works hard, they're prepared. When I went out to the Colorado program, I got there and somebody had to go home because there was a death in their family, and he came up to me and said, hey, can you learn this role? We were only there for 2 weeks. I had to learn it very fast. But I was like, yeah, of course I will. And so you just have to put yourself out there. And I'll tell you right now, that is not an easy thing for me to do. I feel really uncomfortable talking about myself like this, actually. I feel like I'm just like, but that's how you do it. That's how you get the jobs. That's how you make the connections. Oh yeah, piano skills, for real. Yeah, I'm not well blessed in the skills to accompany my voice students. I can do okay. I can do better than some, but not really full accompaniments by any means. I say take piano lessons if you can. I took piano lessons in grad school because I needed to learn skills that I could play the melody line, that's fine. But I needed to learn skills where I can look at a piece of music and just like, okay, I just gotta keep it going somehow. So take piano lessons and learn from that, even if it's just a few, so you can kind of get ideas. Practice trying to sight read accompaniments, even if it's just right hand or just left hand. That's gonna help you a lot too. Just practice that every day, just sight reading. It's gonna eventually, you'll build your repertoire and you'll be able to do more than you thought that you could do with time. Good questions.
Thanks.
Yeah. You can probably hear Daniel playing next door. That's what that is. And there's some violins happening too.
Sorry, I'm
Any
like
questions?
madly typing over here, but
It's
does
okay.
someone have a question?
I have another one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
So how do you keep up your sight singing? Like for me, I did a lot of church gigs that kind of just helped me keep up my sight singing. So I didn't have to like do the whole practicing as if I'm like in a class or something.
Yeah.
But not having accessibility, but ability to have church gigs, work with church gigs because of I have a job that conflicts with that because I'm kind of pulled to left. My question is, how do you keep your sight singing up? Because if you don't use it, you lose it. I mean, or it gets a little bit slower. So
Absolutely. I mean, definitely church gigs. If you can do it, that'll help your sight singing for sure. Getting out a hymnal, finding hymns online and just singing through them, or even like just songs in general. You can just if you go find a book of Schubert songs and just start singing through it, that's gonna help, I think. I love to just find random songs and sing through them, and that's another way to just build your repertoire too. Just learn new songs. Yeah, I think that's definitely how I would do it. Just go and sing songs that you don't know already. That's gonna help you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else?
So this is a big one that I feel like all of us are going to benefit from what you say, and hopefully you give us a wonderful answer, so no pressure. How are you staying motivated?
Well, depends on the day. You know, this is a really good question and a really legitimate thing right now, because I think a lot of us are feeling this existential dread, truly feeling like this is never going to end. I'm staying motivated by having projects to work on. I'm singing in a recital in October. Yeah, it's going to be like socially distanced and virtual and all that, but I'm still doing it. And I think finding projects, I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm working on some things with Dr. Mack, and I'm working on things with Wendy Blackwood, and just finding the people in your life who you can work on things with. Find a friend. Hey, you want to sing this duet? Let's make a click track, sing this duet, and put it on the internet. Because why not? And I think that's going to help. I will say, I understand that sometimes the ability to find the motivation is like, it's not even there to even think about finding a friend to do that. I sometimes will have to set just like daily goals. Like today, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take a shower. Step one. Then I'm going to feed myself. I'm going to feed my child. And then we're going to go to work and we're going to sing. Whatever it is for you. It's making a list of things that you want to accomplish. You could also, if you're really feeling it, at the end of the day, make a list of all the things you did. Because you may feel like you didn't do anything, but if you look back, you probably accomplished more than you thought. And if those things you accomplished were, I got out of bed and I went to class, great. And that's okay. Some days that's all you can do. But if you're wanting to find that motivation, I think something that helps me is I try to follow singers on Instagram. I will find people that I like, and I follow them, and I'm like, what are they doing? What projects are they doing? I want to do something like that, that helps a lot too. And right now we don't have that feeling of connection and community like we normally have, and I think it's totally okay to reach out for some of that, even if it's just virtual. And yeah, those things, putting those kind of projects together sometimes are challenging and like a lot of work, but at the end it's really fun and worth it if you can find the time. Yeah, does that satisfy your needs?
Send help. Please send help.
Please send help, SOS. And yeah, that's the thing. Know that we're all there. All in this together.
All in this together. I feel like that's the theme song right now.
Oh yeah, I was in that musical in high school as a basketball player jock.
Well,
I just had one last question. I'm a person of many questions all the time.
That's a good thing.
So
ask questions.
That's just my personality. But I do have a question on what is your system to stay organized? Now, people are book planners, little pocket planners, some bullet point. Some people are Google Calendar oriented. Like, what is your system?
Good question. So I have all of my stuff in Google Calendar, like all of my lessons, classes, appointments, all of that is in my Google Calendar. And my phone alerts me 30 minutes beforehand. I got this at Target that I write. It's like so it says, it's like a little teacher thing, and it says copies, grade, contact on it. And then the back it says to buy, which I'm not buying anything. But it's like, it's such a teacher thing, right? Like, and what will you pay your own money for? No, I'm kidding. I've bought a lot. But it keeps, I have a wet erase marker that I will write on it, and then I like cross it off or can erase it when I'm done. And then it's just always here in my office. When I come in, I'm like, this is what I have to do. I'm a major list person. But sometimes my lists are like, there's so many of them.
Yeah, me too.
And then I have like lists of my lists. And so this helps me just to be like, it's all in one place. I just set a lot of reminders on my phone. But really my Google Calendar and that are the biggest things. All my students get feedback every lesson through Blackboard. I just type in, you know, the comments or whatever we've worked on through Blackboard. And oh yes, okay, good to know. Erin Condren. All right. Oh, see, my light just turned off again. Told you that would happen. So it's you know, you kind of have to find your own system. I've tried planners personally, but I just having everything in my calendar on my phone just really helps me. And then I can set repeats and also write it in every single week. When I was in grad school, though, I wrote assignments down in a planner. And then every night I'd go, like, what do I have to do? This is what I have to do. So I wouldn't forget things. It's very easy to forget things. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So time flies when you're having a blast.
I know.
Forget things. Hold on, things. Okay, there we go. I've literally been trying to like type out everything you say because that kind of helps me, like, at least for me, like, it helps me to write down so I can like look at it later and like know what you're saying. Also, I mean, taking notes and making sure other people know this stuff too. But
Yeah.
anyways, my brain is all over the place.
It's all good.
Alex, thank you so much for coming in. Do you have anything else that you would like to put on top as like final remarks about how amazing and awesome you are? Sorry, my little stand just fell. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But anything that you would like to say before we start heading out?
I mean, just y'all are doing a good job. You're here. You're doing this. You know, keep on keeping on, and know that we are here for you. We are here to support you and get through this all together. You're not alone. So, and if you have any questions, I'll put my email in the chat, and then if you have any questions about anything, just let me know.
We can email you night and day. Got it.
Absolutely. I probably won't answer. I might answer if it's in the middle of the night. It just depends on the night. My sleep schedule's a little weird these days. Yeah. Just anything you have questions about.
You're an amazing human being. Thank you
thanks.
so much for coming and talking to us. We appreciate you immensely. Do
I
you
hope
mind
it
if we go
helped.
ahead and put this recording on our Facebook page?
No, that's fine.
Woohoo! You're
That's totally fine.
amazing. Well, wonderful humans, thank you so much for tuning into our meeting. We will see you next week at 6:30, and we'll have Tyler Tress talking about Gregorian chant, actually talking about Gregorian chant this time. And I'm excited for that. So make sure you're here 6:30. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.